Hey guys, Hardcore here. I'm going to be showing you guys on how to make Gil in Final Fantasy XIV. We're in the Stormblood expansion, week 3. I started this expansion with about 20 mil and I'm up to 31. Everything I did, I'm going to show you guys in this video, is going to help you guys out because it's the same techniques I used. And I passed on to some of my FC mates and they're already able to buy their small houses they desire. So if you guys are saving money for Shirogane to go get those new houses, this is not a bad idea. Just remember your miles may vary because servers have different economies, so if you're on, say, a high pop, your economy might be different from a medium or low. That said, I'm going to show you guys things you can attack on the market board and take advantage of all the potential buyers out there. So one of the best things to do is when you're in a free company, so if you're free low levels, you want to have to get your rank up a little bit, then get into these guys. These guys are going to have for your crafters and gatherers daily hand-ins. And these are worth a lot of money because you have to remember that while some of these are high level for me, they require mass recipes. The fact is a lot of people do not want to spend time gathering these supplies. People are more, as I noticed, they're more than happy to pay to sit AFK in town or basically free themselves up, even if it takes only about 10 minutes, so they can be in a queue, so they can go farming, so they can hang out at the FC house, whatever it may be. But I'm going to show you guys the auction board. I'm going to show you guys what I've been attacking on my server, and again, might be different from yours, but it's going to be no doubt sound advice, and it's going to help you guys make some Gil. Now, I also got to recommend, if you guys have not, especially if I have newbies watching the video, if you guys have not leveled your crafters and gatherers, I recommend doing it. And what you could do is, as you're leveling them and you see what the daily hand-ins are, what you can do is Google it to make sure you can't just simply buy it from an NPC first. Never buy anything without Googling it. I cannot stress that enough, because you could lose so much money paying exorbitant prices on the auction house. But write that stuff down, and you gotta absolutely you have to keep a mark on them so you can craft them. So things to look at. So we're gonna start with, if you don't have any crafters up, let's say today right now you guys do not have a crafter. What you could do is you could farm stuff from dungeons if you have a high enough level, or you could just run it on farm, and if you're a tank especially, you can manipulate pulls. So for example, one of my favorite things is called Fine Wax. From Hawk Manor, it's before the first dungeon, or I'm sorry, the first boss. It's up in the northwest part of the room. There's a little door that's behind 3 toadstools, and you go behind there and it has a chance to drop these, and they usually drop in 3s. And just look how much they go for on my server, and you can see the previous selling price. We had a high of 40k for just one. So I've actually been purchasing a lot of these and more or less holding them, because these are really useful for controlling a lot of the high-end crafts. So then you have also, with the Manor Gear, you have this thing called Mana Varnish that drops on HAcoreRD. And as you can see, the price is about similar. You can see myself here, I bought all the low B ones price-wise out, so I can use these for crafting as well. So you see I have 20 of them in my storage. If you don't want to do that, but you do have a high level, what you could do is you could farm this guy. He drops from the first chest in HAcoreRD hard. Or I'm sorry, HAcoreRD normal. Forgive me. So that's his first level 15. You can see the price he is, and literally you can just run up to him, and you can just burn through and get that. Like, I've seen people legitimately just kamikaze in. So you see one guy here with 3k. He must have missed a 0 or whatever his logic is, but at any rate, somebody scooped it up, no doubt, to resell it. So there's money to be made in doing stuff like that. And the thing about crafting, especially when you have carpenter, and remember we have new housing coming out soon, is there is a huge market for furnishings. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, do not put all your eggs in one basket, because that is how you bankrupt yourself, and that is how you lock yourself in to somewhere. And if people undercut you, and people will, that's how you screw yourself. So for example, what I do, especially because if I queue in for a dungeon right now, let's just, for sake of the video, expert roulette, so 22 minutes right now because it's 11 in the morning, but we all know this goes for about an hour. So what I like to do during this time is I go into these drop menus for housing especially, and I'll just look at stuff that says 0. So stuff like this, you see the last sale on this server is 40k, you had a 4k in here, but that lets me kind of know that perhaps maybe this is something that you could buy from an NPC, like you get in a free company house. And then I look the stuff up, and then I'll craft it as I see fit based by profit margin. So like this thing's worth 2 million, so I might take a peek at that. My favorite is wall-mounted stuff, because this is stuff that people need a lot of. I made a whole bunch of these a while ago. I sold out my stock. My stock was 40k here, so you see the price. This guy has it up. These guys are undercutting and crashing it. So I'm going to leave that market for now. These are mine right here. 50k for a wall planter. So I still have my stuff up, but I still have potentially 100k sitting on the market right now, and somebody has a demand on it. And you can see what it costs here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys the profit margin, at least on my server, versus what it costs to make this. So the hummus, because you need 3 of those. So they're going for what, about 2k. You can see yesterday I bought them, so what's that, like 2, 3, so that's like 4,000 gil right there. And keep in mind I'm selling these for 50. So we have iron rivets. So as long as you get a crafter up there, you're safe. Yep, you can see me here. My 4 rivets. So that's like what, about 1,000. Walnut lumber, and again, if you craft these stuff on your own, you're obviously going to save a lot more money. But at this point, if you know what you're selling it for, and if you're doing your math carefully, there's my 419 for 18. You're going to make better profit out of it. And lastly, island seedling. So this is an easy craft. You see it's level 27. There's no specialty with it, just straight alchemy. And there I am, my 6 for 850 each. So that's not even like 10k gil, and I'm selling it for 50. And it's not like it's unreasonable per se for me to ask that, because when I look at the board, it's pretty much 50 straight down. So you see how easy it is to take basic stuff like this and just flip it for money. So that's pretty much what I do when I'm in those long queues. So I actually enjoy the like 1 hour queues. I just sit here and I just farm this. I check everything. So like the free company stuff, the prices are fluctuating, but because everybody has too much free company credits, so it's not a smart investment right now. These used to be worth 50 before the expansion. Now they ain't worth crap. The pictures, ironically, are worth less at times. You see the prices here. It's made for 9k. You see them going up, and they just keep going up. And what's going to happen is people are going to tab back into these markets and see that the prices are going back up, and they're going to flood it, and then it's going to crash again. So you see a market that's doing that, you might want to put one thing in and try to get what you can out of it, but you don't want to dedicate yourself to the market. This particular market, for example, I was selling it right here. That was my 100k. I had people undercut, and I dropped out at 85 just so I could guarantee to get my stuff and get out of the market. Now, what you have to be with the markets, especially when you have a good amount of gil, is you have to be aggressive. You have to know what you're investing, and if people are undercutting you, nickel and diming you by 1, like this is the price is right, you have to know when to absolutely just undercut them and consider crashing it. I've done it in multiple markets, and what I mean by crashing is you bring the profit margin for them down and see if they're willing to chase you. So basically, let's say I made this right here, the incensory. So this guy's selling for 140. Let's say I put one up for 138, and then he puts up for like 137.9999. If it doesn't cost me that much to make this, I might just say screw it and cut it by 20k. And if he keeps chasing me down, I'll keep lowering the prices till either his stuff undercuts me and his stuff sells, or I just get tired of his shenanigans and I buy him out and then relist it. That's what I mean by be aggressive. So something like this, here we go, this is another perfect example, something simple you could craft. Gem scope, because I made these before. It's just something simple that goes on your little table in your house. So mithril ingot, silver. Silver is really easy to craft. Brass is something you buy from a housing NPC. You can buy this from a housing NPC. The walnut lumber rears its ugly head. So the only thing we really don't know the price of off our head right now is basically the silver and the mithril. Because I know that glass is dirt cheap. So yeah, mithril, if you want to buy it off the house, is 600k per, so you need 4, so that's 2400. And silver ingot, which is surprisingly expensive, so if you're a crafter on this server, and you want to make some money, you could actually go right into this. So you see what I mean, where it's like it's easiest to make money, you just gotta check on ingredients, because people don't want to bother themselves with going out there and farming the silver ore, which is a very low level gathering. 400 gil each. I could sit out there for like have my queue and pull in like 40k, if not 100k, depending on how much I want to yield. So these are all things to consider when you're going into the market. Again, like you might want to attack something different, like the mini pets. Like I farmed up this guy. I'm right here, Fafnir, 600k. So people undercut me, but if I look at the sale history, I can see on the weekends, especially, that they sold for, the market went back up to 700. So I'm more than willing to sit here and wait, because there aren't that many fishermen on the server that are willing to go out there and camp it. But I found that you get the most bang for your buck out of the carpenter for housing. But the market slowed down ever since the Omega patch, when everybody realized, hey, we're not getting our housing this particular patch. But when they finally announced housing, and you guys might want to get on this now, this is going to surge. But you have to be careful, because people are going to crash and they're going to flood, because everybody has the same idea you do. This is another thing I did. So here's me, 150, and I crafted 3 of these. So you see my sale here, 150. This guy undercut me by some silly number. And then here's me again. And the main reason why I cut this dude by 50 was because I initially started at 200. I matched, this guy was high, I matched this guy, and then this guy undercut me by 1. And the profit margin for me was still higher than what I was going to make, and I wasn't willing to sit there and play this guy's games. So to make this particular thing, which is, by the way, if you're a carpenter, dirt cheap. So you have rosewood lumber, so 600, so 6 times 4, so that's, yeah, it's 2400 right there. So you have your undyed wool, which is, again, laughable. At least to me, that's what, that's 6k essentially if you're looking at the 2ks. Alright. And Ishgardian's steel ingot. Oh, would help if I could spell, guys. You didn't see me screw that up. And 1,000 each. So, again, less than 10k, and then if you really want to be real technical, we'll look at the price of the shards. You see here, like, they're 185 gil each, and this is, especially if you have low-level gathering, this is a moneymaker right here. Because look at the sale rate on these things. Like, you can't even see, like, anything past 8:46 last night. We're 11:38 in the morning today. And look how much this guy potentially made right here. So he made like 230,000 right there. And you can use your retainers and level them up as gatherers to do that. So I'm going to show you guys my retainers. So I have a lot, because when Stormblood started, I had all these guys stocked at all times. As you can see, because the market slowed down, I slowed down. So I haven't been keeping them as stocked. But I had them all filled with various things. Some of the stuff I have to adjust the price for. So like this, for example, this is a simple level 50 crafting. This guy put a HQ marked high above me. I was... like, I could undercut if I really want to. His last sale is 100. But I know it'll sell because I made it before. So here's my castaway, so if I really wanted to, if I want to mess with that guy, since he undercut me by 10k, I'll just put up for... I'll undercut him by that much, because it took me literally no effort to get that, because I'm a 70 fisherman. This thing right here, this thing is kind of expensive to make, so the market, you can see, they lowered it really far. I'm still making profit if I cut this guy, but I would honestly, looking at the sale rate, I would rather kind of just sit here, because I know housing's not going anywhere, and this thing is, again, expensive because it costs Terminus putty to make. So I'm willing to sit on that. The Manor piano, yeah, I got undercut, but I'm willing to, once again, sit on that, because Manor varnish doesn't grow on trees. The tub, I'm willing to sit on that as well. So this is kind of what you have to be willing to kind of sit here and be patient with the board. See, this guy undercut me, this thing costs nothing for me to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm undercut him, and he's in a, those things don't sell fast enough, actually. We're going to look at the sale rate. So you see, they don't sell well at all. So I could probably chase him down to 370 and just buy him out if I want to. For sale history, you can see I sold Chocobo chicks like crazy. So what's right there, that's, yeah, I almost made like 2 mil right there on just those. Wall shelf, look at that, 490, 500 mil about for just a seat. The maps went for that much. I sold 3 fish. These fish are for daily hand-ins for 27k. So, depending on your server, of course, it's going to be very easy to make money. If you're on, say, Gilgamesh, I believe their server doesn't have as much inflation or problems as mine, but here's my chairs, 150k. This is potted umbrella fig. This thing was stupid easy to make. I think this costed me about, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this is the most expensive thing. I think this is like 10k each, but I still made 200k, so it's like I bounced really well back on that. 40k for the mounted box shelves I pointed out earlier. The fireplace, which is stupid easy to make as well, 200k. Leathers. This was actually, a lot of people didn't take advantage of it, but from D8 level 60 last expansion, that stuff you was, I believe it was 15 for every 1 coin hand in, and I flooded the market. 400k for the floors. So my NPCs do really well for me. When I really monitor the auction board, monitor their prices, and I'm not telling you to sit next to the board and be one of those guys, but you can make a killing if you just monitor your stuff and you attack it appropriately. So what I'd recommend is leveling your crafters and doing those hand-ins and selling those hand-ins. Yarn basket. This is my favorite ripoff of all time. I actually gotta point this one out to you guys. Bamboo stick and woolen yarn. Alright, remember that. Bamboo stick, woolen yarn. Alright, bamboo stick. This one's gonna be funny. So, 24k, you need just one of those. Or 2400, excuse me. And woolen yarn. 1200. And just a friendly reminder, 70k, 75k. It's that easy. It is that easy. This is my fish seller, almost specifically. Mine's a picture frame, so you can see here, 10k for these, but you can see also down here I was getting 4 times the value with them before. An HQ black mage fish, which at level 70 is stupid easy to get, almost 400k. And if you scroll down here, 375, you can see the prices fluctuate, 55k for the vamps. But these are all stuff I had 0 effort fishing. And this last vendor, I didn't really use this one, or retainer, excuse me, I didn't use this one too much. So sea lamps, these are used for just doing my yellow scripts. These are things I just caught, and they're used for hand-ins. The swordfish, which is for the most part useless. It wasn't a yellow swarthy hand-in, so I just sold it. The little pet you get while trying to farm Thousand Fangs for hand-ins. And people bought these for, you know, whatever reason, maybe the level decent, thought beats me. But, yeah, it's really that easy to make the money. These things, like fishing, is very lucrative because it requires patience and a lot of people don't want to be bothered with it. But you can see, like, this guy in particular, he's crashing the market for the HQs down to 200. And again, I made plenty off it, so I'm willing to crash the market and abandon it. Another smart buy on your server is this guy right here. And I'm going to explain that out. So, nobody's running D8 anymore. People barely ran it with his content. So, I scooped him up for 400k because nobody's going to farm D8 anymore. So this guy wants to undercut me by 100,000? Go for it, dude. Nobody's running D8. I could raise that thing up to 2 million and just sit on it until they say in a patch D8's coming back. Then I have to sell it. But until then, I don't have to really worry about it. So, pretty much what I'm recommending for you guys is level your crafters and just hit the board and just look at stuff that says 0 or very low count, and then you attack them properly. So, you got like the open bookcases here. 20k, they're probably dirt cheap to make as well. If not, they're probably purchasable from a vendor. But again, be smart. You do not want to attack too many things at once. You don't want to stretch your finances too thin. But this is all techniques I use to get over 20 million in Gil. And I also, somebody who took advantage of the expansion when it launched. Everybody remembers Raban's Wall, when you weren't able to progress. And while everybody was sitting there stamping their feet, complaining about how they can't do the main story quests, I was sitting there fishing, making Gil, crafting the new katanas to sell for glamour. So there's profit to be made, guys. So that's really all I have to offer you guys for advice. If you have any other advice or questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you in the comments below. So again, thank you guys very much for watching, and please take care. Thank you.